Okay, because I don't see it on your page.
It's just posting now.
Okay.
All right, so we are live now. We have attendees coming into the room. Good evening, everybody. We'll get started in just a second. Thanks for jumping on. All right, good evening, everybody. We are at 6 o'clock. Thank you for joining us for this evening's forum. We're going to have two forums tonight. The first is at 6 p.m. with our Oxnard Mayoral candidates, and then the second will be following at 7 p.m. with our County Supervisor candidates. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Appreciate everybody's time and their jumping on for this evening. So we're going to start with some very quick introductions, and then I'll explain how the structure this evening will work. So first, my name is Gabriel Turan, and I'm the first vice chair for the Inter-Neighborhood Council Organization. And the INCO directed that some forums happen around the elections this year, and a community group of volunteers was convened to put these together. We'll introduce them all in just a second, but first, I would like to introduce our mayoral candidates who've joined us this evening. First, we have Ms. Deirdre Frank, who is running for the office of mayor, and Mr. John Saragosa, who is also running for the office of mayor. We did outreach to Mr. Richard Linares, and he did accept to participate this evening, but I don't see him as joining yet, and so we're hoping that he will join us any second now, but we are going to go ahead and move forward and get started. Quickly, I'll introduce our panelists for this evening, who are also the planning group who put this evening together. So first we have Mr. Alex Ray Rivera, and then Mr. David Ebbett, Ms. Diana Velsi, Mr. Manuel Herrera, and Ms. Yolanda Solorio. So the way this evening will work is that we are going to have 3-minute opening statements from our candidates, followed by questions and answers that will occur for 1.5 minutes for each response to those questions from each candidate. Then at the end of the program for this portion of tonight, we will have 3 minutes closing statements from each of our candidates. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our candidates now for their opening statements. And we're going to go in alphabetical order first. And then as we go through questions and answers, we will rotate through the each candidate. So everybody gets a chance to go first or go last. Okay, so first with opening statements, we have Ms. Deirdre Frank.
I was going to say Zaragoza is probably last in every class he was ever in. And they go by alphabet. Anyway, thank you very much. And I'm pleased to be here, and I'm happy that you're doing this forum, that you're continuing it even in this time of COVID. So it's much appreciated to get the word out. I am Georgie Frank. I am a candidate for mayor. I am 67 years old. I'm an attorney. I received my undergraduate degree from UCLA. My Juris Doctorate degree from Southwestern University School of Law in Los Angeles. I've been a lawyer for 42 years. I started practicing in Oxnard in 1983. I moved to Oxnard in 1988. I raised my son here, who's 37 now, and I loved living here. I wanted to become the mayor because I love this city. It has such potential. It has such potential. It's unappreciated. And I think I have some very good ideas to change that. I work well with others, actually. Share my toys in the sandbox. And I think we need that. We're a panel of 7. We have to reach out to the entire city. The mayor is the one that holds it together. I conduct good meetings. I think I show good leadership, and it's something that I want to do. It's a passion. I've worked hard on the Planning Commission, created some beautiful projects, prevented some bad projects, and I'm assuming that's a time limit that I'm hearing in my ear.
There's 1 minute left.
Oh, 1 minute left. So I would welcome any questions, any concerns you have for your city, for our city, and I will do my very best to address them. Thank you very much for listening, and I want you to know I'm listening too. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now we're going to go to the next candidate, Mr. John Saragosa.
Yeah, thank you, Gabriel, and thank you to the Inter-Neighborhood Council organization for allowing me to share a few words today about my candidacy for the mayorship of Oxnard. I want to share with you that I lived in Oxnard all my life. In fact, I was born at BCMC. It's about 7 miles from here, from my house. I met my wife here in Oxnard and raised my family here, and I'm a third-generation Oxnarder. I'm proud to be here serving my community for the last 50 years. From pothole to homelessness, Oxnard has its challenges. It's got a great potential, and as your mayor, I will provide the leadership needed to move Oxnard forward during this very difficult times. Retiring from the city of Oxnard after 31 years of career as a public employee, and open a very successful real estate business and tax business here in the city of Oxnard. I'm proud to say that I served over 24 years as a policymaker, as a city council member for 12 years as mayor pro tem, and also I served in numerous organizations. And also I served with the Board of Supervisors for an additional 12 years. I love Oxnard. I want to do more for the city. I want to provide a happy, prosperous life for everybody here in Oxnard. My reason for running for Oxnard is the city because I care and love Oxnard, as I mentioned before. But as a leader, I want to bring Oxnard more businesses, improve lifestyle, support and promote youth and recreational jobs, help seniors, reduce crime rates, and also increase budget reserves, and to continue to work on environmental programs for the health and well-being of the community. Although I'm terming out as a position as a supervisor in the 5th District, I'm still very motivated to helping my city become much more. And there's a lot of issues to be addressed. Budget, for example, businesses, homelessness,
1 minute.
seniors, veterans, infrastructure, keeping our mediums clean, our landscaping maintained. We need to keep Oxnard clean. Our gateways to the city needs to be clean. Our entrances to our neighborhoods need to be clean. Eradicating graffiti is really important. And like I said, don't burn any bridges because you never know when you're going to come back or use that bridge. I'm here as your mayor, and I want to thank you so much for allowing me to share a few words. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And we have had our third candidate, Mr. Richard Linares, has joined us. And so, Mr. Linares, we have 3 minutes for your opening statement. Go ahead.
All right. Pues buenas tardes a todos los que están mirando el día de hoy. Good afternoon to everyone that's listening today. My name is Richard Edward Linares, and I am one of your candidates for mayor. It is an honor to be here with you guys today. As a resident of Ventura County for the last 10 plus years, I've had the privilege of being a licensed and ordained minister for 8 of those years here in the city. In serving this city also as a minister, I had the chance to working with one of the greatest nonprofits here in Ventura County, where I gained a lot of experience as one of my probably most eye-opening roles, which was a 211 operator for Ventura County. I worked for Interfaith Children and Family Services for 8 years. And in this role, I became a trauma-informed mental health first aid individual that was working with many families. I've had the opportunity of working with several crisis situations, such as being part of the borderline incident that took place, and also the Thomas Fire. I've been actively involved in working with the Hispanic population, the low-income population, and also specifically the homeless and mentally ill population here in the city of Oxnard and the surrounding communities. Over the last couple of years, I've had the privilege of actually opening and owning and operating a men's and women's transitional living home. I've worked with women and children, also with women and also with men that are struggling life-controlling addictions. And it is this reason why I'm really passionate about stepping into the position of mayor for City of Oxnard, as I have been in the streets, in the hood, in the mess, in the muck, and in the mire. And it just gets to the point where you begin to realize that there's so many areas that can use some solutions. And when you have individuals that have the greatest education, not even being able to address things like homelessness, after one police officer even said for 30 years of his police services, he thinks it's one of the most eye-opening things, that the fact that we cannot come up with a solution to address homelessness. And so the reason I'm running over everything that I've said is we can sit here and try to solve homelessness, but if we don't focus on our youth, this is going to be a reoccurring cycle. So I'm running mayor of the City of Oxnard for our youth. Were you cutting me off, Gabe, or what happened?
You have 1 minute.
Oh, I have 1 minute left. Órale. So, I'm going to go ahead and say it en español para toda la gente que habla español. Mi nombre es Ricardo Linares y tengo el privilegio de estar aquí con ustedes. Y para toda la raza que está escuchando el día de hoy, mi nombre una vez más es Ricardo Linares, hecho en México, y lo que está hecho en México está bien hecho. Vengo de padres mexicanos y es un privilegio de estar aquí con ustedes. Sabemos que este debate o este tiempo de información era simplemente en inglés, pero aquí estamos para hablarles en español. Estoy queriendo para el alcalde de la ciudad, aquí por la gente mexicana. Estamos aquí por la gente pobre, estamos aquí para decir que sí se puede, y también
15 seconds.
decir que no lo dije en inglés, que Black Lives Matter, y pues es un privilegio estar aquí con ustedes. El tiempo es limitado en español, pero Dios me los bendiga y ocupo su voto. Sí se puede.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, so we are now going to go to the question and answer portion for the evening, and we will again be starting again in alphabetical order, but then we'll be cycling them through so everybody gets a chance to answer first and answer last. So I will start with the first question. The first question, we will start with Ms. Frank, then we'll go to Mr. Linares, and then we'll go to Mr. Saragosa. The first question is, why do you want to be mayor? Ms. Frank? Are you able to unmute now?
Thank you. How's that?
Oh, let me start your timer again. Go ahead, Ms. Frank.
All right. Got it.
Okay, go ahead.
The city is at a crossroads. We can go backwards, or we can move ahead, following the excellent example being set by our city manager, who's arranged for staff who knows what they're doing, finally figuring out the financial mess that we were left. We're on the right track. I'm there to help him and help this city be better. We need to be better. We're coming into some real serious financial problems. These measures that I'm sure we're going to talk about this evening are horrible. Measure E is our saving measure. If we don't get E through, and who would understand that better than me, the chair of the Mayoral Oversight
30
Committee.
seconds.
So I want to move Oxnard into the right direction and honestly make it better. It's time for me to move into a policy-making role, and I'm prepared to do that.
Thank you. Mr. Linares, same question. Why do you want to be mayor?
Wow. Why do I want to be mayor? Pues I would love to tell you that it's because I believe it's going to be the easiest job ever, but that would not be the truth. The reason I want to be a mayor is because after serving this community once again in different platforms, religious and civil and civic services and community services, I just began to see that there was a trend, and the trend was that we have old leadership that is spineless and does not have the voice to be able to speak up and just rally people to come together to really motivate and mobilize change in our city. as a master of ceremonies, as a person that's gifted with charisma that's given to me from God, I just began to see that, you know, we need new blood, we need fresh vision, we need visionaries, we need to be able to move forward. And when I found out that respectfully John Saragosa was running, God bless John Saragosa. He's an amazing individual. And I know that within the last couple of weeks, you know, it's gotten a little bit crazy out there, but the dude is amazing and I really respect him for his role. But as a council member for several years and a supervisor and still Oxnard in the situation that it's
30
in,
seconds.
I found it an opportunity to say, you know what, Richard, go ahead and step into this opportunity. And you know what, give it all you got, because I'm a communicator, I'm a networker. I can be a little bit loud and out there, but it's for the overall good of the people of the city of Oxnard. So I want to be mayor because it's a chance given to me. That's why.
Thank you very much. Mr. Saragosa, why do you want to be mayor?
Yeah, thank you, Gabe, and thank you for the opportunity to share what I'm going to share. I'm running for mayor of the city of Oxnard because I care and love about Oxnard. I was raised here, as I mentioned before. My family lives here. My dad was born here. I believe that city needs a strong leader, and I'm the person to serve the residents of Oxnard. As your leader, I want to bring Oxnard more businesses, improve lifestyle, support and promote our youth recreations, which are really important, bring jobs, help our seniors, reduce crime, increase our budget reserves, and continue to work on the environment programs for the health and well-being of the community. Although I'm terming out from my position as a county supervisor of the 5th District, I'm very motivated to continue helping my city because there's still much to be done and the issues to be addressed. Experience is extremely important. You know, I understand, I have the experience. I've been a policymaker. I've been a business person here in the city of Oxnard. I know the difference between running
30 seconds.
Running a business, a private business, and also running the city of Oxnard. And I believe as a supervisor, I managed a $2.4 billion budget and also 9,000 plus employees. I'm that leader that they need here in Oxnard. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Alex, I believe, has question 2. And again, we will now start with Mr. Linares, then Mr. Saragosa, and then Ms. Frank.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Gabe. Richard, what of the 5 ballot measures do you support, and can you tell us your reasons, your position on them?
So I guess I can sum them up in the 5. They go down to 2. One of them is supported by the city of Oxnard gang, and the other 4 measures are supported by Aaron Starr, the star that's shining really, really bright. And so I would have to say that I would side along with Aaron Starr as an individual who it looks like the city is doing nothing but demonize him. I really believe that we need checks and balances. And if Aaron Starr has enough guts to stand up to the powers that be and be able to advocate for accountability and possibly better negotiation, I would actually say that I support Aaron Starr in every one of the measures that he's put forward. Now, I don't negate the fact that Measure E is something that we need to do, but I believe we need to negotiate that. And once again, as a person that's barely getting involved in this, I believe that the people of Oxnard will be the ones that have to vote and make that decision. Like I said, as a person that's coming into this, I'm aware of it. I would like to know more details.
30 seconds.
But once again, going back to it, I would be one of the people that endorse more of Aaron Starr and his request for accountability versus the city of Oxnard wanting to raise a 1.5 or $1.50 tax increase on retail. I just think that we need to negotiate that better, and then Alex Nguyen can do a better job about that. So I'm Aaron Starr and all his measures.
Thank you, Richard. Same question to you, Deirdre. What of the 5 ballot measures, E, F, L, M, and N, do you support, and can you give us your position?
You bet. E.
So that's a yes on E?
Yes on E.
And the rest
Absolutely.
were, I couldn't hear you.
No.
Oh, I see. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you
The
very much.
rest are no. Are we going to be discussing these measures, or are you just asking for our position?
You have 70 seconds. You
Oh,
can
well,
minute.
you know, unlike the other candidate, I've read the initiatives. And so my position is on Measure F, the expedited permitting. This is a nightmare. This is creating another city bureaucracy. City's going to have to form training programs peer review for contractors, architects, for plan checks. There are going to be audits. We're going to have to hire people to do that. And the permitting process that's being proposed by Measure F is optional. So we're still going to have the old permitting and make it an
30
option
seconds.
if someone wants to expedite. Measure L, making the voters select our CFO, Chief Financial Officer. Voters should elect that. This is a professional position. With no minimum qualifications, this is ridiculous. I'm absolutely opposed to that. The Measure N, of course, as chair of the Measure O committee, I'm totally opposed to funneling all the Measure O money into street paving.
Your time has expired, Ms. Frank.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Zaragoza, same question of the 5 ballot measures E, F, L, M, and N. Which ones do you support your positions, please?
Yeah, thank you, Alex. I support Measure E. This is really important because it's vital for the solvency of Oxnard budget, the general fund. It'll restore numerous services for residents. For example, it'll help the firefighters. Right now, the standard response for firefighters is about, the firefighter standards across the country is about 5 minutes. We're now currently going 6 to 8 minutes. That's really important. Public safety is really important. Oxnard PD has lost 17 positions, ranging from sworn officers to support staff. Funding is necessary to replace the equipment. And the police cars, I understand, have 150 to 200,000 miles. I believe that we need to restore the neighborhood police storefronts to support our neighborhoods and support our youth. That's really important. And also, I believe that a landscaping in medium parks, I believe we need to maintain our landscaping, maintain our parks. Our gateway to the city looks horrible. Our neighborhood looks horrible. There's trash all over the place. We need to clean up our city. And that'll give us a sense of pride. Homeless issues is
30 seconds.
We must address homeless issues, and I can share some more later on that. Also, we need to help our seniors and our youth. We need to help our youth. It's extremely important. Our seniors too, our daycare facilities for our seniors, maintain our streets and alleys, and also follow the sunshine ordinance and transparency for fiscal responsibility for the entire city. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Our next question will be asked by Mr. Dave Ebbett. And this time we will start with Mr. Saragosa, then Ms. Frank, then Mr. Linares.
Good evening, candidates. Seems that you've already answered the question that I was going to propose, but we'll move to another one. How would you work to attract new business and better paying jobs to this area of Oxnard?
Well, thank you for sharing that. One of the things that I believe is important, for example, one of the things that I shared before, I was in LAFCO, the Land Agency Information Commission, as a city council member, but we brought in the collections. The collections have brought in thousands and thousands of jobs. At the same time, when we brought in the collections, we also revitalized downtown. During the downtown part of it, we also were planning at the time to bring housing in Oxnard to help, the downtown develop their businesses. There was mixed use that was proposed for that. And there was a mercado that was proposed for that. One other thing too, I work with RDP 21, the Regional Development Plan. We go to DC and we lobby for our bases, lobby for the 19,000 jobs that we have here at the base. It's a $2.4 billion. Half of the people work here in Oxnard. Also in the county, we have 9,000 plus employees, another $2.4 billion operation.
30 seconds.
Half of the people work here in Oxnard. I also have Sakiokas coming up that I think is important. That is going to create a lot of jobs. And also I'm working on what they call a CWA, an apprenticeship program to put our men and women to work with the unions and have local jobs here in Oxnard and Ventura County. Thank you, sir.
Ms. Frank, go ahead.
Sakioka Farms. Yes, Planning Commission and City Council have moved this project forward. We've got huge industrial going in, huge, gigantic, going to be tens of thousands of jobs there. They've already broken ground. So that last major parcel right off Del Norte and the 101 it's that farmland. I see you shaking your head. It's that farmland right adjacent to the 101 freeway between Rice and Del Norte. Okay, so this is huge, huge, huge. Think Amazon style. Okay, I don't know what's going in there, but think about it as being that big. And that's what we need. We need big ideas in Oxnard. We've got a team in place right now that shouldn't be dragging us to the table. We should be running with them to the table.
30 seconds.
Supporting job, education, critical. We need programs at Oxnard College. We need trade schools here. We need to build the space for them to come. And we are. As a planning commissioner, I've tried to be with foresight for the bringing of businesses to Oxnard. It doesn't just happen overnight. Downtown was destroyed by the
And
corruption.
your time has expired, Ms. Frank.
Thank you.
All right. Well, with regards to what the wonderful Deirdre Frank just said with regards to her part of the Planning Commission and needing foresight, I think we need to take a look back at hindsight. Before we start trying to attract new businesses, once again, this is why it's important to take a look and take into consideration what Aaron Starr is doing. You know what? We have forgotten about our small businesses, and we want to sit here and bring in large businesses. Let's take care of our small business owners, our business owners that are struggling right now through the pandemic and through the coronavirus situation going on. They need our help right now. And just like anybody, some people want to go buy a new car, but they can't afford a new car right now. We need to get our city in order. We need our council on one page. And right now they're on Alex Nguyen's page. And I respect the dude. I believe he could do an amazing job. But once again, at the end of the day, we want to keep on trying to attract large businesses, but we can't even take care of our small businesses and our businesses that we have here. I think we need to once again take a look at the small businesses in downtown Oxnard. And like John Saragosa said right now, downtown Oxnard is crippled right now. There's nothing
30 seconds
right now. And so once again, before we start trying to attract large business, let's take care of our small businesses and our people, our mom and pop shops that are here, because that's really what's going to sustain Oxnard. And then when we're ready for the big ones, we'll let them come. But once again, we need to make this permitting process a lot easier, because they ain't going to come as long as this permitting process continues to be the mess that it is.
Thank you.
Our next question will be asked by Miss Diana Velsey. And this time we will start with, who went first last time? So now we're
Deirdre.
back to Miss, okay, thank you. So Miss Frank, then Mr. Linares, then Mr. Saragosa.
Okay. If Measure E passes, what should be the priority funding areas for the city? But if it doesn't pass, how would you propose we manage our finances moving forward? Ms. Frank?
Yeah, that's the question of the hour. And especially if Measure N passes, the sunsetting of Measure O, if we don't pave the streets, this is going to be a fiscal nightmare. We're looking at safety officer reductions. We're looking at libraries closing. We're looking at just a nightmare. Measure N is the nightmare. Measure E, if it passes, and I'm really hoping that it does, where do you start? Get those roads fixed. Get everything. We could do everything. Keep the libraries open. Get our police force fully staffed. Our 11 officers down. Fix the landscaping, and the South Oxnard needs so much work. Put something down there. I would like a satellite city hall down there, actually, to help
20
people.
seconds.
Thank you. Oh, that's intrusive. I think the homeless shelter at 2nd and B Street that's going in. All of these things, we can do it. We can fund it.
And your time has expired, Ms. Frank.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Linares?
Diana, thank you so much for your question. One of the things, I could sit here and say what I want to see get done, but at the end of the day, it's what the citizens of Oxnard want to get done. If Measure passes and we cannot come to an agreement that we need to renegotiate that 1.5%, I would really like to see that negotiated. But if not, I'm going to go ahead and side with Scott Whitney and the rest of the police team. I get it. We need law enforcement, but at the same time, we need everything. And so it would be unfair for me to say that we should go ahead and go in one direction or the other. Spread it out evenly, because it's not fair if the police get all that money or a larger percentage. Spread it out evenly. Give it to them and see what they can do with it. You know, my mom, she never used to give me a lot of money. Why? Because I would misspend it. And even now, I misspend my money sometimes. And so spread it out evenly. If it passes, you know what? At the end of the day, I'm not going to sit here and cry over spilt milk. I'm going to be the next mayor of Oxnard. So I got to go with what happens. If Alex succeeded in that, then applause to Alex.
30 seconds.
So if it passes, you know what? Once again, Scott Whitney and all them get all my love. I know we need some more help with police enforcement, but the rest of services also need help. So spread it out evenly. And of course, if it doesn't pass, Diana, we'll get together and we'll figure out some solutions. But right now, I only have 13 seconds left, girl. So we'll talk about it over some tea, okay?
Okay, Mr. Zaragoza?
Yes, thank you so much. As I mentioned initially, you know, the solvency of Oxnard is extremely important. We need to restore numerous services, not just police, not just fire, but all services. And I think it's important, as I mentioned before, that we protect our fire, protect our public safety, protect our neighborhoods, landscaping, but help our homeless, help us, all those individuals. One of the things everybody's missing here, we need to have a base. When I was a chairman of the board of supervisors, I went to New York and talked to S&P about ratings. If you don't have a base, if you don't have the monies like a FICO score to buy a house, you have to have a base in order to borrow money from S&P. Otherwise, your ratings go down. And if you have a base, at least you can borrow money and save money by buying at least a better interest rate. So I think we need to have that Measure E to help us out. If we do not have it, it's going to be catastrophic because we need vital services like water, sewer, trash,
30
and
seconds.
public safety. So I think it's extremely important. And I tell all the voters of Oxnard, vote for Measure E because we need that funding. This is our city. We're not playing around with it. And we're helping all our residents, small businesses, big businesses. You need to bring jobs to make more money. I think that's extremely important. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And our next question will be handled by Mr. Manuel Herrera. And we will start with Mr. Linares, then Mr. Saragosa, then Ms. Frank.
You're on mute.
You're right, I was on mute. Thank you, all of you, for attending tonight. We really appreciate it. Now, my questions are going to be to each one of you, and it's going to be an individual question. So Mr. Linares, you happen to be first. So here's your question. The obvious question for you, and I'm sure you've heard this a lot, is your lack of political experience. We hear this a lot. So why didn't you seek some kind of political experience, such as applying for a local commission before running for the highest office in Oxnard?
See, Manuel Herrera, Citizens for a Better Oxnard, the king of Citizens for a Better Oxnard. God bless you and thank you for your question, bro. You see, the thing is that you guys think that the mayor position is the highest position in the city. And we all know that the highest position in the city is CEO, the chief executive officer. The mayors previously have failed epically and have paraded around like they're the presidents of the United States of America, when they're simply a ceremonial position that's pretty much authorized to pretty much gain the momentum, to educate people, to equip people, to get people together. So your narrative is wrong, Manuel Herrera. It's not the highest position. The highest position are the council seats that represent each one of the 6 districts. Those are the highest positions. They should actually be the mayors. They are mini mayors. And so why didn't I not seek any kind of council seats? Because at the end of the day, I qualify for Master of Ceremonies before I do qualify for a candidate of a specific district. I trust and believe that every council member that's voted into those
30 seconds.
will do an amazing job of overseeing their locations. Once again, and also People ask my political experience. Gangs are political. Church is political. I have political experience. The workplace is political. So for you guys to think that I have no political experience because I haven't been in government, I've been in church government, I've been in street government, and I've been in hood government. So that is an ignorant question for people to still be asking, and I'm tired of it. Bye.
Okay, well, thank you for your answer. It is a question that has been asked a lot on social media. That's where we got it from. So, Mr. Zaragoza,
Yes, sir.
this question is for you.
Mhm.
Some people say that it's time for you to retire. And as you know, Mr. Linares kind of brought this up when he was talking earlier.
Mhm.
They say that your many years of public service is more than enough and we need new blood. What do you say to these people?
Well, I'd like to say that I'm a journeyman, and I'm going to put this carpentry question to you. We're going to build a house. Do you want a journeyman carpenter to build that house, or do you want a junior guy that's a carpetbagger? That's important. You need to find somebody that knows what he's doing. You need somebody that needs experience. You need somebody to be a leader. You need somebody that knows how to set policy. It's kind of nice when you see from outside and throwing rocks into the inside. But if you don't know policy, that's tough. But you need somebody that has the experience. I have 24 years of experience, not only as a policymaker, and so as a department head for the city, as a person that's run a business, and a person that knows what it is to pay bills and to pay property taxes. Somebody that works every single day, and I've been working since I was 10 years old to now. Never have I been unemployed at all. So to have somebody share that, then that the mayor is just a master of ceremonies.
30 seconds.
My God, you need to be a team player. You need to understand what's happening, because that's important, because we're making policy for the entire city, 200 and plus thousand people. And the county was almost 1 million people. So this is not a game. We're protecting our residents, and that's extremely important.
Thank you very much for your answer. Ms. Frank, some people say that although you do have some political experience, their concerns are that sometimes you come off as abrasive, too blunt, or too argumentative. They ask, is this the kind of mayor we want representing our city? What do you say to these people?
I wish I was a man.
I'm sorry, you weren't on the screen when you said that. What was that?
I wish I was a man.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that was it for my
Yes.
question.
Thank you very much. Our next question will be asked by Ms. Yolanda Solorio. And the next one will be Mr. Saragosa will go first, followed by Ms. Frank, followed by Mr. Linares.
Yes, hi. So my question is, in a city as diverse as Oxnard, what will you do to ensure equity for people of color and low resource communities? Mr. Saragosa?
Yes, I believe in social justice. Social justice has equal access to education, rights to housing, gay rights, women's rights, racial inequality, income inequality, universal health care, child welfare, dignity, and fairness. And I think it's extremely important that we treat everybody politely and equally. And social justice, again, is deserved by everybody, whether economic, politically, or socially. There's opportunities for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Deirdre?
Yes. I've been a lawyer for 42 years. I represent injured people. I don't get paid on my cases until the case settles. I don't take any money from any client until the case settles. So my clients come from all over. My office was in Oxnard for many years until 1996 when Bud Smith sold Financial Plaza and I was forced to move. Access is the key word, and I'm happy that the supervisor brought it up. It is access to justice, and that comes from having access to education, financial availability, banking, loans. You know, when I studied property in law school, my professor was Jim Kushner, wrote a book called Apartheid in America. Apartheid in America, it was based on zoning, how you kept the black people on one side of the railroad tracks.
30 seconds.
It's all about access. Access to home loans, access to opportunity. We don't have enough access to opportunity in Oxnard. The Leadership Academy, I thought, was on the right track. Youth, got to give them access to success, access to success. And it's an attitude, and we can do this. I appreciate that question. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Linares.
Yolanda, can you please repeat your question?
Of course. So in a city as diverse as Oxnard, what will you do to ensure equity for people of color and low resource communities?
Well, first of all, I would start off by saying Black Lives Matter. I would also begin to say that all lives matter, but they don't matter until Black lives start mattering. And as a person that's a Latino, first generation here from a mother, I was made in Mexico, hecho en México, lo que está hecho en México está bien hecho. So I was made in Mexico. I was born in Phoenix, Arizona. And as a person that's lived pretty much impoverished my whole pretty much life. And yes, I've had seasons of unemployment and I've had moments where I have not had a job. But you know what? At the end of the day, that's what probably makes me more empathetic towards minorities that struggle, that are living day to day, paycheck to paycheck, that are trying to get loans or borrow money from here and there. And so as a person that's been a minority my whole life, my heartbeat is minorities. That's why I'm running, Yolanda. That's why I'm part of this, because I want to be out there con la raza. I want to be out there for our indígena community, our Mixteco community, you know, our African American, our Filipino.
30 seconds.
Our Tagalog speaking individuals, you know, we have so many individuals. So as a young person, I'm the youngest person. And so I'm an advocate for that next generation. So girl, I'll do whatever I can, Yolanda. Follow me on Instagram, connect with me on Facebook, girl. We'll connect, we'll see what we could do. Once again, this is not my city. This is our city. This is your guys' city. That's why I'm stepping up for you guys. God bless you.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you very much. Our next question will be from me, and the order will be Ms. Frank, then Mr. Linares, then Mr. Saragosa. The question is, what is your stance on the defunding police movement? We'll start with Ms. Frank.
Well, you know, I hate the word defunding. It sounds like you're defunding. I think the word should be reprioritizing, and that includes changing attitudes on what policing is. I refer to them as safety officers because I wish they were safety officers. We're too militaristic. The approach is the approach is negative, the perception is negative, and that needs to change. As much respect as I have for Chief Whitney, you know, it's a tough job that he has. And our department does as good a job as I think they can. But I think the perception is bad. I don't know that defunding is the appropriate word. Honestly, we need to reprioritize and redirect some of those funds that go to the
30
police,
seconds.
to social programs. We definitely need social programs. Youth programs that put youth in touch with the police beyond, you know, sports, shadows, that we used to call it shadowing. So I think there's a lot that can be done to change the perception of the police in Oxnard. And I'm hoping that some funds can be used to do that. Thank you.
Okay, and next is the same question, Mr. Linares.
All right, so the word defunding. The Bible talks about life and death being in the power of the tongue. The words are really powerful. And so I get it that defunding the police is really offensive, especially to the police officers that need to get paid. And especially when they're the ones having to deal with a lot of the BS in our community and our cities. They're handling the mental health calls, they're handling the homeless calls, they're handling the domestic violence calls. And so I know I was part of one of them that jumped on the bandwagon of defunding the police. But you know what? Sometimes you have to use that kind of language to get people's attention because people don't listen sometimes. We complain, we riot, we protest, but they don't listen until their money starts to get affected, until their livelihood starts to get affected. So I would agree with Deirdre also. We need to reprioritize the way that we are investing our money, not spending our money. We should be investing our money. Our money's not being spent, it's being invested because we are getting money from taxpayers, from the citizens of Oxnard. And so we should be investing their money, not spending their money. And so let's invest our money. Let's reprioritize.
30 seconds.
Why are we paying the police department? Why is the police department the most paid, one of the most paid departments in our city? You know, like really, like honestly, like we should be safely serving everyone. And I got 17 seconds left, okay? Chief Whitney, for a long time, used to get all the pastors and leaders together and say, we need your help. And you know what the pastor said? We're going to have a prayer meeting. What the hell is that going to do? We're going to have you know, how much money is there? There's no money. So once again, reprioritize. I will regroup and I'll backtrack, not defund the police. Let's just reprioritize where our money is being invested.
Your time has expired.
Gracias.
Thank you. And Mr. Zaragoza?
Yeah, thank you so much. And I believe that we're very fortunate here in Oxnard that we don't have the type of demonstrations that are happening across the United States.
Yeah.
I believe that the police chief is doing a good job for us. We're going to be working. I understand he's going to be starting a program here in October. A course that's has modules on implicit bias, procedural justice, and also have him study police history and police brutality. And he's going to amend the use of our force policy, mandating that a police officer intercede to prevent the use of unreasonable force. I think that's extremely important. And prohibit the use of the carotid control hold, except when they have to defend themselves against bodily harm. The carotid hold is extremely important that they not use that only when it needed. Also, my understanding is that he's going to increase de-escalation of training for police officers, modify the promotional process to include reading materials that include institutional and implicit bias. Also, hiring practices, make sure that we use the national standard unit.
25 seconds.
To make sure that we have the candidates that are emotionally correct, that use the right judgment in making decisions. And I think that we need to actually support our public safety programs. Those are very, very important programs for the community. And I think it's important that we support public safety because you dial 911, you're going to need a police officer. They're not your next door neighbor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So at this time, looking at the timing we have left, I'm going to go ahead and move us into closing statements. I wish that we had much more time because our candidates certainly have a lot of different ideas that they've brought to the table. And in the best interest of time and knowing that our candidates do have another forum to go to after this, I want to go ahead and move into that. So at this point, we're going to have 3 minutes each for closing statements, and we're going to go ahead and go in the order that we would have gone for the next question, which means that Mr. Linares will go next, then Mr. Saragosa, and then Ms. Frank. So 3 minutes closing statements, and we will start with Mr. Linares.
Well, Gabriel Turan, I want to first of all thank you, bro, for all the work that you do. And I am a fan, not always, but I'm a fan of who you are and how you educate us here in the city. And so in my closing statements, I want to send Emmanuel Herrera, God bless you, Alex Ray Rivera, you know, and John Saragosa at the end of the day, you know, this is a match to see who wins. And I hope you take no hard feelings. I got nothing but love and respect for you, and I pray for you on a regular basis. But once again, this is a political race. It's not to the person that's the weakest, it's to the person that shows their greatest strength. And so in closing, I also want to send a shout out to David. David surprised me seeing him on the screen here yesterday. I had no idea that he was part of this kind of group. So shout out to him. And then Deirdre Frank. God bless you. I have not had the chance to meet you, and I'm honored at the fact I was praying that a woman would get in the race. I didn't think it would be the week before the race was over. I would have loved to have some tea with you. So I applaud you, Deirdre, and I'm one of your biggest fans. And if I don't become Oxnard's next mayor, I would be honored to have you as Oxnard's next mayor. And with regards to people, you know, the journeyman and all that experience. What has all his experience got the Ventura County and the city of Oxnard? You were the supervisor of the city of Oxnard, John Saragosa. You were a council member. Oxnard is where it's at for the last 100 years of its leadership, and specifically 20 years of leadership. And so please, as you continue to come at me with your stuff about being experienced and me making a joke, once again, I am an educated Hispanic, Latino, gay Christian. And so I know my facts. And so this time is limited for me to be able to have a platform. But please, I would request a longer opportunity to be able to sit with people on a regular basis. And I've been waiting for this time because everybody wants to hear what Richard has to say, because you guys have been hearing my marketing stance, because I don't have the money that John Saragosa has. And yeah, might not have the money that Deirdre Frank has. I'm on unemployment. I'm unemployed. So I identify with people that are in the struggle right now. So in closing,
One minute.
Upon the city of Oxnard. The Bible says in Proverbs 3:5-7, trust in the Lord with all of your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. Acknowledge him in all of your ways, and he shall direct your path. I trust God above everything else. I wouldn't have stepped into this position if I didn't feel that God was behind me. And God is behind me, because you know what? Not everyone who wins American Idol becomes the most famous. Sometimes it's the second or the third runner up. So with that said, Oxnard, I love you guys, and I'll see you in the streets on a regular basis. And I look forward to anyone that wants to have coffee or tea with me, or even come and have a burrito at my food truck. And once again, to all the youth, I can't wait to come to the ghettos and the neighborhoods and the barrios to give all the kids free cheeseburgers and hamburgers. Because if this is what this platform gets me, is to be able to have more exposure, to bless more people. Hallelujah, gloria a Dios. God bless you guys, and thank you for letting me be a part of this.
Thank you very much. And now we'll move on to Mr. Saragosa.
Yeah, as I mentioned initially, I want to thank the INCO, Gabe, and I want to thank all the individuals that participated today in this. I've worked with the city of Oxnard. I've worked with the INCO for many, many years. And the reason I mentioned initially I'm running for mayor is because I care and I love Oxnard. I've raised my family here. I believe in the city, and I believe the city needs a good leader, somebody that worked to serve the residents. As your leader, I want to bring Oxnard more businesses, I mentioned before, a better lifestyle, support and promote our youth. Our youth are extremely important. Bring jobs, and more senior programs, reduce crime rates, increase budget services, and continue to work on the environment program and for the health and well-being of the community. I'm terming out from my position in the County of Ventura, but I'm motivated to continue to help our city become much more than what it is. And Oxnard needs my help. As I mentioned initially, the budget needs a lot of help. We need a leader that is going to solve city budgets. We need a leader that's going to bring businesses to downtown, whether small businesses, large businesses. We need jobs, because without jobs, you don't have a base. How can somebody come and eat at a small restaurant or whatever without having jobs? That's important. And I mentioned before, I own my own real estate business, my own tax business. I know what it is to work a private industry and also a public one. And I think it's important that we work hard, like I have for years and years and years. And I have the experience in both public and private. Homeless issues. We need to help our homeless. I think it's important that the Board of Supervisors shared $1.6 million to help the city of Ventura and the city of Oxnard to provide housing, behavioral health, social support in order to help unhoused individuals and get them off the streets. Our youth, as I mentioned before, we need to work with them, with the Boys and Girls Club. When I was in the city of Oxnard, we had the OES program, the Oxnard Youth Employment Service Program, where I trained and mentored many individuals that became public employees. That's really important. Our seniors are really important. Proper housing, health, care, recreational activities, and workshops to help our seniors. Our veterans are extremely important. My whole family are veterans, and I like to ensure that our veterans get the housing and jobs they need. Infrastructure, keep our mediums, our city clean, pick up the trash, the debris, our gateways. And also, and as I mentioned before, just basic cleanliness, I think is important. As I said before, I am your leader, I am your mayor, and I've devoted my entire life to the beautiful of the city of Oxnard and the county of Ventura. And I know that a lot of people have just moved here to Oxnard, but I've been here all my life, and I love my city. Thank you so much, and vote for John Saragosa. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Ms. Frank.
Wow. So I also want to thank you for putting on this forum for the benefit of the public. It's difficult campaigning in the age of COVID. So, thank you for giving the access. So everyone talks about where they came from and what their background is to get where they are now. So my mother, I'll do it. My mother, first generation American. Her parents were from Ukraine. My grandmother was from Transylvania. My grandfather was from Ukraine. They came over, they didn't speak any English. My grandfather was a baker. My grandmother stayed home and had 7 daughters. None of my mother and none of her sisters went to college. My mother came to Hollywood from Boston and got married and had 3 little girls. I was the oldest. And then my mother got divorced in 1959. I was 6. You know what it was like being a kid of a divorced mother in 1959? There was no child support then. It was very difficult. She worked 3 jobs, never saw her. But we were going to college. We were going to go to college. My sister is a PhD in education. My other sister is one of the youngest to ever graduate UCLA in fine arts, and I became a lawyer. Overachievers, all of us. But when we do something, we do it. Driven. I came to Oxnard by choice. I love this place. I'm not going anywhere. I protect the beach. I protected Fisherman's Wharf. I've been a defender of Ormond Beach from the minute I ever heard about it. I'm pleased our city manager has thought outside the box to get that Ormond Beach power plant out of here. In 3 years, we'll have a trust fund with $25 million in it to get that off the beach. Talk about enhancing the opportunities for South Oxnard. Bravo. So I want to be part of that. I don't have a whole list of my relatives who were born here, live here. I don't have that. I live here. I count. You count. Vote for me. Let me be your voice, as abrasive as it might be. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we thank all of our candidates for coming out this evening. If we were in person, I would ask everybody for a round of applause now at the end. And so there we go. There's our virtual applause. I appreciate everybody taking the time to come out, and I especially appreciate our candidates taking the time to be here to speak to the voters and the constituents who are out there and listening. This meeting was recorded and will be posted by the city on their YouTube page and put into rotation of their TV channels. And it's also live streaming on Facebook as we speak right now. One question I have for our candidates, we have a number of unanswered questions in the Q&A box, but also questions we didn't get to tonight that were pulled from the public prior to this meeting. Would you be willing to review and answer these, send them to us, and we can post them for folks to review after the fact?
Sure.
I will do. Yes, sir.
I think we need round 2, another hour of power.
Yes, thank you all very much. We really appreciate it. We're going to take a quick break, just a couple of minutes, and as we transition to our county supervisor forum. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Gabe.
Bye, Oxnard. But hello. Bye, Manuel. Bye, David. Bye, Deirdre. Bye, John. Bye, Alec.
Have a great evening.
Goodbye, everyone.
I'll see you guys in the streets.
Maybe next time I'll put some royalty-free music on, so we don't have to pay for it.
We should be
Good
playing.
idea.
We should be playing Anderson .Paak right now.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so they just finished at the other forum. We have our candidates transitioning in. I see that Mr. Flynn has arrived.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good
and
Hello.
evening.
Ms. Ramirez is here as well.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
Good evening. Thank you. All right, let's turn. All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome back. For those of you who stuck around from the previous one and those who are just joining us, we have the candidates forum for our District 5 County Supervisor candidates. And our candidates this evening are Mr. Tim Flynn, who is the current mayor of Oxnard, and Ms. Carmen Ramirez, who is the mayor pro tem for the city of Oxnard. And we'll reintroduce our panel as well. My name is Gabriel Turan. I'm the first vice chair for the Inter-Neighborhood Council organization, who directed that a community group be formed to put together these forums for you all tonight. So I'll go ahead and introduce our panelists. We have Mr. Alex Ray Rivera, Mr. David Ebbett, Ms. Diana Velsi, Mr. Manuel Herrera, and Ms. Yolanda Solorio. And we will be cycling through questions, and the way that the evening will be structured is we will have opening statements from our two candidates for 3 minutes each, followed by questions and response. Each question will be 1.5 minutes, and we will go back and forth. One time, Mr. Flynn will go first, then the next time, Ms. Ramirez will go first, and then we'll go back and forth. And then at the end of the program, we will have 3 minutes for closing statements. So we're going to go ahead and start with our opening statements. And for this one, we're just going to go in alphabetical order. And so, Mr. Flynn, you will start with a 3-minute opening statement.
Thank you very much, Gabe, and thank you very much for the Inter-Neighborhood Council Forum to sponsor tonight's exchange of ideas, as I would call it. I'm a candidate for Ventura County Supervisor. I'm the current mayor of the city of Oxnard. I'm proud of my record as mayor. And in particular, I have a focus as a candidate for the Ventura County Board of Supervisors that's based on 3 things: rebuilding Oxnard's economy, revitalizing Oxnard neighborhoods, and reinvesting in people. And let's talk about what that actually means. So one of the main things that I've been focused on as mayor of the city of Oxnard is bringing higher paying jobs to the city of Oxnard. You know, for a part-time government and a part-time position as mayor, that is a very, very difficult thing to do. Mayors don't have the same resources as, say, the governor of Texas, where they can come to another state and say, here's $15 million, come to our city or come to our state. And so I led an effort to recruit Amazon's second headquarters to the city of Oxnard. And even though that effort did not succeed, we were able to showcase our assets. We put together an eye-catching proposal that showcased our assets to other companies. And that's how I was able to convince the then city manager, Greg Nyhoff, we need to go after this Amazon headquarters application. And ladies and gentlemen, as a result of it, in 2.5 weeks, the city of Oxnard is going to have an announcement of a new employer, large employer with higher paying jobs and benefits that's coming to the city of Oxnard. I want to take that track record and I want to bring it to the county of Ventura. And we need prosperity in all cities of Ventura County, not just Oxnard, which I would be representing if I'm elected, but we need prosperity throughout all of Ventura County. Second, I believe in reinvesting in people. I'm a 25-year high school teacher and a 20-year community college teacher. My whole life has been centered on investments in younger people and students for upward social mobility. And that's what Oxnard
1 minute.
needs. Oxnard needs upward social mobility. We need to reinvest in younger people, and specifically, younger people need the training and the job skills so that those higher paying jobs will come. And finally, we need to revitalize Oxnard's neighborhoods. I have spent a lot of time in some of the poorest neighborhoods of Oxnard. One of them is in South Winds, Cuesta del Mar. And I instituted one of my top accomplishments, the Safe Homes, Safe Families program, so we eliminate substandard housing for all
30
people
seconds.
in Oxnard. In closing, ladies and gentlemen, I am bringing a solid track record as your mayor to the Ventura County Board of Supervisors. I'm focused, once again on reinvesting, rebuilding, and revitalizing Oxnard and Ventura County. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Ramirez, you'll have 3 minutes.
Thank you very much for this great opportunity to talk to the residents and the voters of Oxnard. I know not everybody's a voter like some of our young people. I'm hoping they're engaged with what's happening because this is the most important election that is coming up, and we're going to be able to vote, all of us, by mail if you wish, as soon as the ballots hit you. I am a former legal aid attorney. I still practice law, and I say I have the pulse of the community, what people are going through, what they've been going through before, struggling to survive on minimum wage, lack of adequate housing, lack of access to healthcare. And these are all things that the county has a lot to do with, and I will push those initiatives. At this point, I will tell you that we've got to get back to recovering from the pandemic, which has cost people their lives, sadly, their income, and sometimes their businesses. We have people struggling who are small landlords and they cannot continue paying their mortgage because their tenants have no income. They need relief. The county's been doing so far a very good job of providing some assistance, rental assistance and business assistance, but it's not quite enough. And I'm very concerned that we're going to see more homeless folks on the street, and families too. Families already living in overcrowded situation. Since I've been on council, and I have never missed one meeting in 10 years on city council, and we have met a lot. I'm diligent. I took every opportunity to get involved, represent our city on regional and local county entities where the city needed representation. I represent the city at Southern California Association of Governments, the largest metropolitan planning. We talk about housing, transportation, and social equity now. We need better paying jobs, but you can't get a good paying job if you're depending on internet that doesn't work in your community. The county has something to say about that. We need people to feel healthy so that they can go to work and support their family. And we need to work better with our community colleges to provide the training for the new jobs that are already here in renewable energy, in modernizing our infrastructure. We have a lot of work to do. I'm ready to do it.
Thank you very much. Our first question tonight is going to be asked by me, and we are going to go ahead and start with Mr. Flynn again, and then we will go with Ms. Ramirez, and then we will go back and forth from there for the questions portion of this evening. So the first question is, what is your top priority for District 5 and how will you achieve it? Mr. Flynn, you'll have 1.5 minutes.
My top priority for District 5 are jobs and county government. And the role of county government has not been focused on jobs and the economy. I want to change that. And I think there are people right now on the Board of Supervisors that I can, once elected, I can work with them to prioritize job growth. Ladies and gentlemen, the county of Ventura is about 147 years old. And it was only until 3 years ago in 2017 that the county even had an economic development plan. That plan now is in place. I want to be the supervisor that works together with the majority of the board to make sure that that program is implemented for economic growth. We've had 5 years of stagnant economic growth in Ventura County. I want to change that. My number one priority, higher paying jobs, upward social mobility for the residents of the city of Oxnard.
Thank you very much. Ms. Ramirez?
Well, my number one priority is getting our economy running again after the pandemic shut down. And how do we do that? We have to continue supporting our small businesses, the larger businesses as well. And we need to be responsive to the residents and the businesses in the district. What people really need is affordable housing. That and allowing the construction of affordable housing within the confines of SOAR will mean we have to go vertically, we have to go up, but those are great jobs, the construction jobs. The other great jobs that are coming are in renewable energy. I have led the charge to change our energy support to the Clean Power Alliance. One of my initiatives would that we would invest in clean power, which invests in jobs and the new technologies, and move away from old obsolete systems that are
30
going
seconds.
and are thinking about leaving the pollution that they've caused, idle well wells, for the taxpayers to clean up. Those are going to be great jobs, and that's the future, that's present. We got to go there and not be stuck in the old ways of doing things.
Thank you very much. Our next question will be taken by Mr. Alex Ray Rivera, and Ms. Ramirez, you will go first, followed by Mr. Flynn.
Thank you, Gabe. Mayor Pro Tem Ramirez, given your long time tenure at the City of Oxnard Council, what will you do at the county level to advocate and support our city even more and take us to the next level?
Well, I think the county does have a lot to say about setting the table for economic development. I was chaired the Economic Development Collaborative that the county participates in, along with the city, most of the cities of Ventura County, and to get that economic strategy program going. And we also provided advice to small businesses, larger businesses, and how they could improve their systems, modernize. But one of the things they really need is better internet access. And that is a county problem. Some places in our city of Oxnard do not have good internet access. And this is a problem for businesses as well as students and everybody trying to communicate now through the internet, because it's not safe to continue meeting with people because of the spread of COVID. So that would be one of my #1 priorities: better internet access, the digital divide, to help everybody,
30 seconds.
from students to small businesses to families. And I think we can do that. I also think that it's going to be important that people have some way to access health care, because when you lose your job, you lose your health insurance in many ways. So we need to figure out how everybody can be healthy, everybody can get their vaccinations, preventive care, so we don't have people going to the emergency room or putting the burden on the employer to buy very expensive health care. So
Your time has expired.
those are two things.
Thank you, ma'am. I thank you for mentioning the County Economic Group. I remember seeing photos of you representing the city at the annual meeting. So thank you, ma'am. Same question to you, Mayor Flynn. With all this experience that you have in Oxnard, what are you going to do at the next level to support our city, to take us to the next level?
So here's what happens, Alex, and members of this panel, when people get elected to the Board of Supervisors, they forget the people that they represent. There's an ivory tower there off of Victoria Avenue, and I want to break down that ivory tower. And I want to bring government, and I want to bring my experience in local government to the people. You know, one of the mantras of my family, and my father was the one who indoctrinated me in this, it's shoe leather. It's about door-to-door contact with people. It's about real issues with real people. It's none of this nonsense in this ivory tower off of Victoria Avenue. And I'm not disparaging the county building or even the county employees that work there. They're hardworking people. I'm talking about the fact that people that get elected to county positions, they forget where they come from. And I tell you where I come from. I come from Oxnard. My family's been in Ventura County just short of 100 years. And if you know what my dad did on the Board of Supervisors for 32 years, just wait to see what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring shoe leather. I'm going to bring shoe leather, and I'm going to bring local government directly to the people and break down that ivory tower of county government. And I more than anything else, am focused on bringing jobs and making sure that government is never separated from the people.
Thank you very much, Mayor. You're right. Real people of Oxnard, that's the true treasure. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Alex. Our next question will be by Mr. Dave Ebbett. And first will be Mr. Flynn, followed by Ms. Ramirez.
Mr. Flynn, Ms. Ramirez, good evening.
Good evening.
What are your plans for the Fisherman's Wharf for the future?
Great question. When I was elected mayor 8 years ago, 2 weeks into being mayor, I had my first meeting with the county of Ventura. So we're talking about qualifications for this job. I have an 8-year working history. And it's not just Fisherman's Wharf. It's about all the issues of the people at Channel Islands Harbor have had to face about the Harbor Patrol and the excessive cost of the Harbor Patrol, the lack of maintenance of many areas throughout Channel Islands Harbor, the fact that Channel Islands Harbor used to be the gem of Ventura County. It used to be the jewel of Ventura County, the lobster trap, the whale's tail. I grew up here. I remember what it was like. I have that memory, and I want to bring Fisherman's Wharf back to its glory, back to its original glory. I also have the privilege of being a San Francisco resident for 3.5 years. So the real Fisherman's Wharf, at least the Fisherman's Wharf that many people remember, I've lived that Fisherman's Wharf, and I remember Fisherman's Wharf right here in Oxnard. It was the pride and joy.
30 seconds.
I want to bring leadership, dynamic leadership to the County of Ventura. I want to ignite the citizen participation movement that I helped start with the Channel Islands Harbor Task Force 8 years ago. I've been involved with the people at the harbor, and I want to take Fisherman's Wharf and bring it back to its glory.
Thank you. Ms. Ramirez?
Thank you for this question. The Fisherman's Wharf is such a great opportunity for our city and actually for the region. But unfortunately, we've come to a stalemate, and I'm hoping that I can, as county supervisor, get us past that obstacle. What's the obstacle? The developer that the county chose, for some reason, would not negotiate with the residents. It was my way or the highway. And actually, we had to get the Coastal Commission to basically tell the county, no, the people of Oxnard, through the Planning Commission and the council, have a right to review the plan. The plan, what was it? 100% exclusive luxury apartments and limitations on coastal access. This needs to be a tourist destination. It's the gateway to the Channel Islands. The people who live there, who pay taxes, need to be respected and listened to. We need to have a collaboration. I'm very good at collaboration. We can get
30 seconds.
We can get to yes, but we've got to work together, and it can't be my way or the highway, or if you don't do it my way, I'm going to sue you. And that's what we've been hearing all this time. That's why nothing has been able to be accomplished. I think now it's the end of the road for the county on this project. We're going to have to go back to the drawing board, and it will be something that'll be good for everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next question will be asked by Ms. Diana Vilsey, and we will have Ms. Ramirez go first, followed by Mr. Flynn.
Hi, Mayor Pro Tem Ramirez. Do you support more oil and gas drilling excavation in Ventura County? And if we end drilling, what is your solution to the jobs in the industry?
You know, thank you for that question. I think we have to transition. You know, we've just had horrible fires, and I read in the LA Times today, more fires are coming because of the heat. We have heat because of greenhouse gases caused by fossil fuel. Yes, I know this is a history of the county and our country and elsewhere to use fossil fuel for energy, but we have new technologies. Clean Power Alliance, which the city is a part of, has developed lower cost energy sources that provide where the jobs are. Those are where the jobs are. And meanwhile, oil drilling provides some very definite health detriments. And I really appreciate what the county supervisor's majority did the other day, doing a setback from oil drilling from homes and schools and sensitive sources. We got to transition. It's hard, but remember, we used to light our homes with whale blubber. Don't be afraid.
30 seconds.
Let's make a safety net for those who can't transition. Let's make sure our young people can get trained in these new jobs. They're here now. It's not the future. And that's where the market's going. It can't be changed. Let's get on it and not be left behind. Let's not leave our workers behind. Those are where the great jobs are, middle-class jobs.
Okay, thank you. Mayor Flynn?
Thank you very much. The bottom line is, out of the 58 counties in the state of California, Ventura County is number 3 behind Kern County and Los Angeles County in oil and natural gas production. This is a vital, integral part of Ventura County's economy. But we know that we have a climate crisis. We understand that. And the bottom line is, and I just heard Mayor Pro Tem make the remark about transition. That's been my theme from the very beginning. We have some of the highest paying jobs here, right here in the city of Oxnard, for members that work in the oil and natural gas industry. It would be absolutely unacceptable and unconscionable that those individuals are laid off from those jobs, and those jobs are replaced with either minimum wage jobs, jobs that don't have benefits. It is absolutely unacceptable. The transition is what it's all about. And I, as a candidate for the Ventura County Board of Supervisors, want to rigorously get behind
30 seconds.
2017 Economic Development Strategic Plan and make that transition. But ladies and gentlemen, higher paying jobs should never be sacrificed. We do have to pursue the health and safety of our community, but the bottom line is this: it's about higher paying jobs. It's about upward social mobility for all of the residents of Oxnard and Ventura County.
Thank you very much. Our next question will be taken by Mr. Manuel Herrera, and we will have Mr. Flynn go first, followed by Ms. Ramirez.
Mr. Flynn, good evening.
Good evening.
As you know, renewable energy is a major topic on everyone's mind. Having said that, here is your question. Would you support development of a comprehensive plan in Ventura County for achieving renewable energy sources?
Well, let's talk about that first and foremost. I was one of those that joined Mayor Pro Tem Ramirez and her lead on a alternative energy proposal for Oxnard residents. So the answer to your question is yes. But Manuel, the devil is in the details. The devil is in the details. And that's what a supervisor has to understand before they make his or her vote on any issue. What are going to be the direct impacts on the residents of Ventura County? Once again, we have a climate crisis. And again, it begins with our own individual behavior. There's no question about that. But the fact of the matter is that people cannot even afford to live here right now. We have 3 and 4 families living in one home in the city of Oxnard, right? And we have decreased revenues as a result of that. We have a sales tax initiative on the ballot that's directly related to the overcrowding of this city. The way we're going to end overcrowding, the way we're going to, embrace this change that you're talking about are through higher paying jobs. We need to make
30
that
seconds.
transition, and that is going to be the unique skill that I'll bring to that job if I'm fortunate enough to get elected to the Ventura County Board of Supervisors. Do not compromise higher paying jobs at the same time while you pursue sound environmental practices and policies.
Thank you for your answer. Mrs. Ramirez?
Like I say, we used to heat our homes with whale blubber. The mode of transportation was a horse and buggy. And believe me, back then, people said, hey, we can't give up our horse and carriage. Who's going to build we're going to lose jobs. We have to change. And we have to help people who are in the industry now, who are afraid, who are supported by an industry that's not accountable to the people. That same industry, a bankrupt company, spent almost $500,000 spreading lies about me. I was very disappointed that none of my opponents at that time spoke out against what they knew to be lies. They had $500,000 against me, but they still filed bankruptcy. And what they want to do is leave their workers holding the bag, the taxpayers holding the bag for all of this pollution they've caused, all of this climate crisis we're in. We've got to change. It's an emergency. Our future's at stake. Our children's future's at stake.
30 seconds.
Let's go forward. Let's get those jobs that are already here. Ventura Clean Energy that is in El Rio is providing jobs, project labor agreements, union jobs, community benefits. They're redoing the water system there, investing $20 million in our county. Let's go there. Let's not be stuck with these old polluting industries, and don't let them tell lies about me.
Thank you so much for your answer.
Thank you very much. Our next question will be taken by Ms. Yolanda Solorio, and we'll have Ms. Ramirez go first, followed by Mr. Flynn.
Yes, so my question would be, what will you do to work towards social equity for the families and residents of Oxnard? Ms. Ramirez?
Yes, thank you. Great question. This has been my life's work. I grew up in a poor family, very much in a neighborhood like the Colonia. So I was so pleased when I became a lawyer, which again was a dream come true because of the civil rights movement opportunities I had. I became a lawyer and I did go to work for legal aid, representing people like many of the people in Oxnard are today, farm workers, Spanish-speaking people, people who are disabled, single moms, kids with special ed needs. I know what they go through. They still call me every day. I got 2 calls today. So I'm really aware that if we don't provide social equity, it's not just going to hurt those people, it's going to hurt all of us. People won't be productive. They'll be into crime. They'll be living in overcrowded situations. They won't be able to afford a house. That's been my life's work. I'm going to work on it. Healthcare for people, better education, better internet, which means better jobs.
30 seconds.
Good job if you're not educated. And we've got to work harder to get our young people and our reentry students into the jobs of the future, not of the past. That's been my life's work, fighting for civil rights and social justice. And I will continue to do that as your county supervisor.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Flynn?
Thank you very much. Well, both Mayor Pro Tem Ramirez and myself are byproducts of the American dream. We are middle-class people, and my life has been dedicated to assisting students in particular every single day, students and their families, on realizing the American dream. Their hopes and their aspirations are connected, very directly connected to what teachers do in the classroom and what students learn at school. I have that experience. I have 25 years of working directly with Oxnard families and giving them that hope for the American dream. So my candidacy is based on the American dream. I'm a byproduct of the American dream. I want to bring that to the residents of this city, but it's going to take a reinvestment in people. County resources need to be more invested and coordinated in reinvesting in people of our community so that upward social mobility, when you say the word social equity, that is an alarm for
30
upward
seconds.
social mobility. That means that the more opportunities people have to realize the American dream, the more that social equity is going to be attained.
I don't know why my dog's always barking when I have to talk. Okay, sorry.
That was me, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you all very much. The next question will be handled by me. So what do you plan to do as county supervisor that you could not do on the Oxnard City Council? Mr. Flynn, 1.5 minutes.
Great question, Gabe. Number one, having an influence over all the cities of Ventura County, the 10 cities in Ventura County, when it comes to providing for higher paying jobs. I've been able to provide for higher paying jobs. Again, we have an announcement in 2.5 weeks that I'm directly involved with at bringing higher paying jobs to the city of Oxnard. I want to do that into all of Ventura County. But to end, it's the assist program of the county of Ventura that specifically targets those individuals who suffer from mental illness, especially homeless that suffer from mental illness. I want to expand the assist program, get those people off the streets, get them the mental health help that they need. And that is not in the jurisdiction of Oxnard City government. And as a county supervisor and an aspiring county supervisor, I want to make that assist program. It's an experimental program for about 6 out of the 58 counties in the state of California. I want the assist program to be the most successful anywhere in the state of California, anywhere in the United States of America.
Thank you very much. Ms. Ramirez.
I think that as a county supervisor, you have control, influence. You know, you're one of 5, so you can't do it. Just like on council, you can't do anything by yourself. One of the things I would do initially is what I did in Oxnard. One of the first things I did is ask that we have a preference for local companies in procurement and those companies that hire local residents. We don't have that at the county. I'm shocked. APCD is building a new facility. They bought a building. They have to, I said, do we not have a preference for our local contractors? No, I will change that. I'll do what we did in Oxnard. It's not a huge percentage, but it makes a difference. Let's keep our tax dollars here in the county, here in the district, where we produce them and not let it go elsewhere. And, you know, the other thing I would do is say that we need to look at the big picture. Again, water, air, traffic,
30
housing.
seconds.
We all need to share in this and not just say, it's just Oxnard's problem that they're homeless. Send them all to Oxnard. We all have to share in the responsibility. I heard today somebody tell me that a unnamed city thought they had no problem with homeless. Well, yes, you do. Who's cleaning your homes? Who's doing your landscaping? Who's producing the work, the food that the farmers? We've all got to share in those problems. The county has influence over that.
Thank you very much. Our next question will be taken by Mr. Alex Ray Rivera.
And is this directed to the Mayor Pro Tem first, Gabe?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, great. Mayor Pro Tem, do you have any outside of the box homeless service solutions? And did you learn anything on the council with those intense situations at the plaza, downtown and Halico?
I think that we need a balanced solution because we have to realize that homeless situations, it's responsible for about half of the calls of our police department. Why? Because people aren't well, they have no place to go, they are some use drugs, hurt other people, but many of the homeless people are simply people who got priced out of their rental, priced out of the room they were renting, lost their job, are living in a car, and we have to have compassion for them. One size doesn't fit all. Do you know we have enough homeless students in our county to fill a high school? That is a tragedy, and that's a problem for us because they're not going to be growing up to be productive citizens if they cannot get an education. So out of the box, yes, it's been difficult. Nobody seems to want homeless services except Mr. Turan in the Fremont neighborhood. I'm not saying you wanted it, but you found
30 seconds.
You found there weren't problems there. I really appreciated that. That was courageous. We have to take steps to house people. Then we're going to see less problems. But again, it's not just Oxnard's problem. The county's been doing a good job. I'm on the continuum of care. There's state and federal money. We need that so we don't use our general fund money to provide services to the homeless.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Mayor Flynn, same question. Do you have any out of the box homeless service solutions? Did you learn anything from those intense moments in downtown and at the Halico site?
Well, one of the things that I learned, Alex, that was actually had the most influence over me was the inaction of the city council for years and years and years, because the thought was the minute we go down this path, it's a slippery slope and it's going to start consuming more and more resources, limited resources that the city has. But then the Halico situation made it quite apparent to me, and I think to a majority of my colleagues, if not all of them, that not doing anything about the homeless situation was costing the city more than doing something about it. And that's where the opportunity cost switched in the city, in city policymaking, et cetera. So we're a little bit behind. There's no question about it. You have to acknowledge this. And I think I have a very frank admission about what actually transpired. But there are no easy solutions to ending homelessness. But beyond mental health, which is one of the primary focuses that I want to devote my tenure as a county supervisor
30 seconds.
Is how about talking about upward social mobility? How about talking about higher paying jobs or just a job for those that are homeless? And that will be the next step. Mental health will be my number one priority at helping the homeless. And my second priority will be job training and upward social mobility for the homeless. And I don't know if that's unique, but those will be my priorities.
Thank you very much to both of you for your answers.
Thank you very much. Our next question will be taken by Mr. Dave Ebbett, and Mr. Flynn will go first, followed by Ms. Ramirez. And before you go, Dave, I just want to state that I realize the timer is no longer on there. That is the computer running it disconnected, but I am still keeping time.
Okay. Okay. So what will you do to increase access to both physical and mental health care for the residents of Ventura County?
Am I first, Gabe?
Yes.
Okay, just wanted to double check. Well, again, I want to tell everybody here, I didn't get the questions in advance, but I've been talking about the ASSIST program. I think that the Ventura County Assist Program, which is based on Rachel's Law, which comes from a 2001 California State Legislature public law, which allows counties, the 58 counties in the state of California, to opt in voluntarily to a program where those individuals that are service resistant, and I haven't really mentioned this yet, but those individuals that do suffer from mental illness, that are service resistant, that now it's expanded of a group of 8 different categories of people, starting with family members that can actually request the court to get those individuals that the court will order treatment. And that's one of the real problems with chronic homelessness in particular, is individuals that are service resistant. And in fact, we could probably safely say that a good
30
majority
seconds.
of those individuals that are chronically homeless suffer from mental illness, drug and alcohol addiction, and physical disabilities. I want to put an end to that because it's chronic homelessness that's at the very core of this never-ending problem.
Thank you. Ms. Ramirez?
A few years ago, I was involved in an effort to get better mental health services for the city of Oxnard. I went with a group of people to a wellness center, like a drop-in center in Thousand Oaks. It was staffed 24, I won't say 24 hours, but 5 days a week, full time. And then I went to what was happening at the Centerpoint Mall, and it was just a couple of days a week, half-time. And there's been a lack of, let's just say in Oxnard, a lack of Spanish-speaking therapists. I've known of people who've worked for the county who are Spanish-speaking, but have been poached away because they were offered more salary, better compensation. So we really need to have a mental health, behavioral health workforce that can relate to our community, which again, lots of Spanish-speaking people, a lot of people are not literate, they don't have computers, they might have an iPhone. We need to
30 seconds.
serve the people who need we need to have the people who can serve the people with a need instead of, okay, let's find somebody who speaks English and needs mental health. It's a critical problem, especially now during the pandemic. People are depressed at every level. Got to deal with it.
Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question will be taken by Ms. Diana Velsey, and Mr. Ramirez will go first, followed by Mr. Flynn.
I think you guys already touched on this subject a little bit, but is climate change a high priority for you? And how will you address climate change? Mayor Pro Tem Ramirez, please.
I've been addressing it even before I was in council, because we are in a crisis. Just read the newspaper, look around, smell the air, and it's not a distant thing. The climate crisis is here. I'm endorsed by Tom Steyer, who is an advisor to Governor Newsom on business recovery, and his main focus is getting people into the renewable energy jobs so that we can do our part in California, in our city of Oxnard, in our county, to address climate change with healthier solutions like renewable energy and cleaning up the pollution that's already there. It is a crisis. We've had our fires. They are devastating our county, Thomas Fire, Woolsey Fire, and there are more coming. We have to be prepared. We have to have our disaster preparedness plans. We have to have our firefighters up to speed. They're stretched thin right now. One of our Oxnard fires was just hurt in a San Bernardino fire because we do mutual aid. We got to beef up those people who fight the fires, and we have to protect the
30
home
seconds.
businesses that are in harm's way. But the only thing that's really going to help is trying to mitigate, roll back climate change. Climate change is affecting our coast. Our critical infrastructure is facing sea level rise. We can't have our homes and streets and our wastewater plant, our energy producing facilities, if they're still there, inundated with the sea coming to meet them because of the melting of the glaciers. This is reality. The Navy knows it's reality.
Expired.
Mayor Flynn.
Excellent question. Here's the bottom line. To the people of Oxnard, what is more important than climate change are jobs and higher paying jobs. And I like to give a parallel here. when you're in an aircraft and that aircraft is decompressed and you lose oxygen. It says that the adult puts the mask over their face first, and then you fix the mask over the child. That oxygen is our jobs in the city of Oxnard. How can the residents of Oxnard begin to make a transition in this economy of acknowledging that we do have a climate crisis when they barely can even feed themselves? Climate change is the last thing on their mind of the people of the city of Oxnard. What's first on their mind is money and jobs. And I would argue, once you have that oxygen, once you can breathe, then you can focus on climate change. And yes, it should be a priority. It should be a number one priority, but jobs are the number one priority. And then we need to, at the same time, get around to climate change and act locally.
Thank you very much. Our next question will be taken by, by Mr. Manuel Herrera, and Mr. Flynn will go first, followed by Ms. Ramirez.
Okay, Mr. Flynn, some people blame both of you for some of the financial problems that Oxnard is currently facing. They say that if you couldn't solve our financial and structural problems as mayor or council member, what makes you think you will be more effective as our county supervisor representative?
Manuel, that is an outstanding question. And I would say this, Mayor Pro Tem and I equally share responsibility along with the other council members of restoring the integrity and the honesty and the transparency of Oxnard city government. You cannot have decades and decades of mismanagement, misappropriation of funds at the highest levels, illegal and unlawful behavior. And in a couple years, why haven't you solved every one of Oxnard's financial problems? That is absolutely absurd. It is ludicrous for anybody to suggest that. I'll say one thing. I take pride in the fact that honesty has been brought back to Oxnard government. I take pride in the fact that right now it's transparent. Now, people can disagree about the priorities. People can disagree about a lot of things, but they can't disagree that honesty, integrity, and transparency has been restored to Oxnard's finances. I'll end by saying this. 2/3 of all the revenue we get in Oxnard, 2/3 comes from property taxes and sales taxes. When you have 3 and 4 families living in one home, you don't have enough property tax revenue. And when those very same families don't have disposable income, you don't have sales tax revenue. We have a revenue issue and it needs to be addressed. And upward social mobility is at the key of that.
All righty. Well, thank you very much for your answer. Ms. Ramirez?
I'll take some credit, and it was a council decision to do things we needed to do to try to get our finances in order. And one was increasing our wastewater rate. And we all know what the consequences were. 4 of us, including the mayor and I, were recalled, but we survived because we did the right thing. And by doing the right thing, we increased the credit rating of our city, which means ultimately, if we have to borrow money, and we probably will, to fix things like the seawalls and other essential services of the city, it's going to cost the residents less. So we also did something they said it can't be done. We took back our recycling center because it was being run by a vendor that was gouging the residents of the city. That first year, we saved the city $2 million. So these were some of the steps we took. We had audits that really didn't tell us
30 seconds.
this time. We have an audit now that has found at this point no material deficits. It takes a long time to fix these things. Stay tuned. Watch the presentation on the sales tax. You'll see our revenue shrinking. Revenue shrinking. We've got to find more revenue or else lose essential services.
Thank you so much again for your answer.
Thank you. Our next question will be by Ms. Yolanda Solorio, and Ms. Ramirez will go first, followed by Mr. Flynn.
Yes, so my question is, what will you do to improve the situation and economy at Channel Islands Harbor? Ms. Ramirez?
Well, first of all, we have to listen to what's been going on there. And I hear from the residents and the businesses. I shop there. Go to Joanna Steele's studio gallery if you want anything framed. She's the best. And what we've had is, for some reason, the county has made a deal with a developer who would not compromise, would not listen to the residents. And that property owned by the county in the city is subject to the city of Oxnard's planning process and ultimately council decision. But for some reason, they would not allow it to go until very recently to the planning commission. We have to listen to, I have to listen to, and I will always listen to the residents, the taxpayers, the homeowners, and the businesses. What do they need? Not some developer who wants to take away coastal access. So we've got to get a better plan that everybody can agree on, and that
30 seconds.
can agree on, that is still the generator of tourist dollars, hotels, tourist serving industries, and restaurants, so that people will come and visit and not be an exclusive enclave for a few people who need a home away from LA.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Flynn?
Thank you very much. You know, this is a time, I think, to distinguish my candidacy from Mayor Pro Tem's candidacy. You know, she is and was the leader on shutting down the power plant. And the whole city council unanimously got behind her and supported her in her leadership role. The one thing, of course, we didn't have a plan to deconstruct that plant, but she's the one responsible for providing the leadership and the environmental stewardship to shut down that plant. Where I contrast with Mayor Pro Tem is from day one, when I was elected mayor, I got involved and placed Channel Islands Harbor as the #1 priority. 2 weeks into my administration as mayor, I met with the county, then the county harbor director and county council, and said, Oxnard needs a seat at the table. And I'm sitting here right now as the mayor of the city of Oxnard, and I am demanding a seat at the table for the people of the city of Oxnard, the people that you are supposed to be representing, just like city government is representing. I have provided that stewardship from day one of my tenure as mayor. And I will say that the city council unanimously has supported my efforts. And later, once we went to district elections and joined me on this committee and worked hard, equally as hard as I did, Councilman Bert Perillo. I've provided that stewardship. I was the #1 opponent of a project, the submitted project at Fisherman's Wharf, but ironically enough, I'm the #1 proponent of getting a new project.
Okay, thank you. Gabe?
Thank you very much. I will be taking the next question, I believe. Yes, I am. So the next question here is, what are your thoughts on preserving agricultural land and the agricultural companies? We'll start with Mr. Flynn, followed by Ms. Ramirez.
Well, everyone knows here that, and another thing Mayor Pro Tem and I have in common is we both strongly support the SOAR initiative, which protects not only agricultural land, the richest agricultural land in the world, but it preserves open space. It's been supported by 70 and 80% majorities all throughout Ventura County. So quite frankly, it's a no-brainer, and there's no discussion about that. Ventura County has one of the most ambitious open space protection laws anywhere in the state of California, and I would argue anywhere in the nation. So that bids well for agriculture and the $2 billion that agriculture provides to Ventura County. But given that fact of the preservation of agriculture, it's important that when we grow properly inside city limits. And we need more housing. We need more opportunities and higher paying jobs for more people. I want to be that person that produces those higher paying jobs so that we grow in our boundaries and we don't consume agricultural land that has not yet been zoned for commercial and industrial development, or for that matter, isn't part of the city limits. Outside of the city limits is protected, and it's protected until 2050.
Thank you very much. Ms. Ramirez?
Agriculture is the backbone of the city, of the county. It's the history here. And it is also being affected by climate change and potential water scarcity. So one of the things I would do is make sure that we have a fair allotment of water to cities and to agriculture. And I've been taking a really strong look at Fox Canyon adjudication of the water to make sure our city has enough water and that the agricultural companies and lands have enough water to grow food that we need. We need food. And it would be tragic if our very rich agricultural land, some of the best on the planet, would be paved over. That's why I brought SOAR limitation to 2050 onto the ballot. And my colleagues went along with it, but they also, some of them wanted 2030. I wanted it to be 2050. I didn't want Oxnard to be standing alone, potentially picked off by developers who would have gotten us to develop farmland.
30 seconds.
We have to go up, and we're going up, and denser housing is not bad if it's properly built. And we're going to be seeing that along Oxnard Boulevard, where affordable homes for sale and for rent are going to be available under our new plans.
Thank you very much. Our next item will be taken by Mr. Alex Ray Rivera.
I see that. Can I just pick any question here on the list, Gabe? Because or what number do you want me to hit on?
Number 14, please.
Okay, I see. Okay. We'll start with Mayor Flynn. And how would you support farm workers and the farm worker housing? And this is great. You were just talking about SOAR.
Farm worker housing should be a #1 priority in Ventura County, and along with higher paying jobs should be decent, first world living conditions. And too many farm workers, especially in South Winds, especially on Cuesta de Mar, are living in substandard second world and third world conditions. That is unacceptable in a first world country, the wealthiest nation on the planet, the wealthiest nation in history. And we have people 5 minutes, 10 minutes drive from where we're all tonight that are living in third world conditions. This is unacceptable. And this is why I came up with safe homes and safe families, to protect farm workers, to protect those workers. And ladies and gentlemen, we need farm worker housing, and county leadership is crucial, because the bottom line is this. I figure that only 1/3 of all the agricultural land in Ventura County is attributed to Oxnard and Oxnard's sphere of influence. Then why are we housing 75% of the farm workers of this county that provide a $2 billion industry and one of the
20 seconds,
backbones of
Mr. Flynn.
Oxnard's economy? The bottom line is this. County leadership means getting other cities to step up to the plate and start doing their fair share when it comes to farm worker housing. But I will be a leader with farm worker housing. Thank you very much, Alex, for that question.
Thank you, sir. Mayor Pro Tem, how will you support our farm workers and the need for farm worker housing?
Well, this has been my life's work as a legal aid attorney. I'm actually endorsed by United Farm Workers of America and Dolores Huerta, co-founder of the United Farm Workers Organization. And since I began my career, I've supported farm workers in their quest for decent housing. I was involved. My firm did the Rancho Sespe case, where the neighbors and the growers did not want farm worker housing. But then, as now under SOAR, there is an exception for farm worker housing to be built on agricultural land. We've got to provide decent living conditions for people who are feeding us. Right now, so many people who are undocumented. They are feeding us, and they're left out of the safety net. They're living in bad conditions, overcrowded conditions, and they're exposed to the COVID virus and don't have any recourse to a safety net. That has got to change. I've continued to work with house farm workers
30 seconds
in our county that provides funding and support. I have supported every single farm worker housing project that has come along. And we have to do that. It's a decent thing to do. It's good for the economy. It's good for agriculture. We want to be an agricultural community. We've got to support our farm workers. They have to have a place to raise their families.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So now we're going to go to our last question of the evening before we do closing statements. And this one will be taken by Mr. Manuel Herrera. That's the final one on the page, Mr. Herrera. I think he's on mute. All right, I'll go ahead and take the question. What accomplishments as a city leader for Oxnard can you point to for us to have confidence in your vision at the county level? Ms. Ramirez?
First, one of the first things I did was to initiate translation of our meetings into Spanish. That had been long requested, but it never got on the agenda. Even though we had Spanish-speaking council members, I couldn't understand why. But once I presented it, it was adopted, and it's still there now, so that our Spanish-speaking residents, maybe a third of our population, can participate in what the city is doing, understanding the decisions we're making. The mayor did not support that. He has his justification. He'll tell you what they are, but our people needed to understand what we were doing. The other thing I did immediately was try to get an initiative passed, and it did, to give a preference for local companies in procurement and for those that hired Oxnard residents. That's what I want to see at this new big plan that we're not supposed to talk about that's coming soon. Hire Oxnard residents for better jobs with benefits. The other thing I did
30 seconds.
Deindustrialize our coast, and I'm glad that my council members went along with it, cleaning up Halico, stopping another plant that was not necessary to be built at Mandalay. Instead, we have the Clean Power Alliance, and we have Ventura Energy Storage providing that same energy cleanly with good middle-class jobs. Those are the initiatives. I'm a leader, and I'm not afraid to take bold action. I don't wait for other people to tell me what needs to be done. That's why I'm on council. I got there because I oppose the liquefied natural gas terminal that I didn't feel the city.
Your time has expired, Ms. Ramirez.
Okay.
Apologies, I was on mute. I said it twice. So, Mr. Flynn.
Could you repeat the question again? I just want to make sure I heard it correctly. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
of course. What accomplishments as a city leader for Oxnard can you point to for us to have confidence in your vision at the county level?
That is a great question. And I want to say the following. In 2.5 weeks, we have an announcement that we're bringing a new employer to the city of Oxnard that is going to provide higher paying jobs. That will become my number one accomplishment. My goal is to bring higher paying jobs to Ventura County and to Oxnard. That's number one. Number two, when I was elected to the Oxnard City Council, my number one priority was to get the graffiti problem in this city under control. It was a blight on this beautiful, great city. And the overwhelming majority of the people agreed with me. Today, we have a model program of removing graffiti and taking care of graffiti and removing that blight and that vandalism from our city. My third major accomplishment is that I focused on traffic. And even though the Oxnard Traffic Initiative did not succeed, it brought to the attention of everybody in the Oxnard community that Oxnard had a traffic problem. And today we have the intelligent traffic system invested $12 million, and it's near its final stages to alleviate traffic. And finally, when we're talking about farm worker housing and we're talking about decent living conditions, one of my premier legislative accomplishments is the Safe Homes, Safe Families program. It goes after those living conditions that are unacceptable living conditions for human beings, that human beings should never be a part of. Safe Homes, Safe Families, that is one of my primary and one of the things I'm most proud about. And I'll continue working with those people that need it the most down in the Southwinds neighborhood, down in many of those neighborhoods where people are still living in substandard conditions that are completely unacceptable for the world's greatest nation and the world's wealthiest nation.
Thank you very much. We're going to go ahead and move into closing statements. Before we do that, I would like to make one ask of our candidates. We have a number of questions and answers that came into the questions and answers box. And we had a couple questions we didn't get to from here. To remind everybody, the questions that we all asked tonight were pre-submitted by the residents of Oxnard leading up to this event. And we were able to take that and aggregate the ones that were coming up again and really try to hone in on what the people were asking of our candidates. So to our two candidates, for those questions we did not get to tonight, would you be open to us sending them to you to have you respond to them, and we will post them after the fact for folks to review?
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. We're going to go ahead and go into closing statements now, and there will be 3 minutes, and we will start with Mr. Flynn, followed by Ms. Ramirez.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, you have two passionate, qualified candidates that are running for the Board of Supervisors. But ultimately, it comes down to their priorities. What are their priorities that they are seeking to bring to Ventura County government and representing the people of the city of Oxnard? My number one priority is higher paying jobs. It's to take that county economic development plan that again took the county 147 years to come around to and rigorously and vigorously implement that program. Do what it takes to bring higher paying jobs to Ventura County. By the way, that's not a promise, ladies and gentlemen. That is a goal. Anybody that promises something and they can't deliver it, they're finished. It is a top goal. My number one priority is higher paying jobs. Secondly, we have to start figuring out how we're going to replicate programs that are successful in other countries around the world where they have apprenticeships. The unions of this country provide those apprenticeships. We need to get our kids in Oxnard in those union apprenticeships. Number one, we need the highest skilled labor force when it comes to building and trades. Secondly, we need to bolster the efforts of community colleges to get a nursing program, which is right now only at Moore Park and Ventura College. We need a nursing program to open that up to our kids in the city of Oxnard. That's investing in people. And finally, when it comes to revitalizing neighborhoods, ladies and gentlemen, I ran for the city council on the platform of quality of life in Oxnard neighborhoods. I live in the historic district. And when I walked outside of my home one morning to get the newspaper, and I saw that my neighbor's fence posts, each one of them had been vandalized with graffiti. I went into the house, I looked at my wife and I said, that's it. She said, what do you mean that's it? I said, I can't sit by idle any longer. We need to bring Oxnard back to its glory. This is a great city. We need to put an end to this graffiti. We need to do something about traffic. We need to end substandard housing conditions. And finally, we need to deliver higher paying jobs. And ladies and gentlemen, if you want to give me the nickname tonight that I'm the mailman, it's because I deliver. And that's not a joke to Jack Villa, who was a postal carrier. You can call me the mailman because I've delivered on those jobs. And my promise to you is to work tirelessly
30 seconds
to bring those higher paying jobs, more higher paying jobs to the residents of the city of Oxnard, and prosperity in the American dream to all the residents of Ventura County. Thank you very much. You can visit my website at tim4supervisor.com, or you can like me on Facebook. I'm here at your service 24/7, 805-340-1922. That's my telephone number. Text me and I'll act on it right away. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Flynn. Ms. Ramirez, 3 minutes.
Thank you very much. First, I would just like to say a couple things en español. Gracias por esta invitación. Quiere decir que yo soy la candidata que siempre va a escuchar tus deseos, tus problemas, tus obstáculos. Estoy aquí para servir al pueblo entero. So I just want to say a couple words to so many of our people who don't speak English, speak Spanish. I want to say that we're living in very challenging times, politically, socially, environmentally. Social inequity, which doesn't let people get into those good jobs, has to be addressed at the educational level. I'm not running for school board, I'm running for county supervisors. We have a lot we could do to help with closing the digital divide that keeps people in our city and many other parts of the county from having good internet access. It hurts students, it hurts businesses. I know that I'm on the oversight committee for the county's business assistance program. Many of our small businesses in Oxnard do not have computer access, don't have business licenses, don't know how to access resources. I worked to make sure that Oxnard businesses were not left out of that program. At the same time, I'm very proud of my endorsements. I'm endorsed by Congresswoman Julia Brownlee, Congressman Salud Carbajal, Senator Stern, Senator Hannah Beth Jackson, Assemblywoman Monique Limon, Dolores Huerta, co-founder of the United Farm Workers. I'm endorsed by the United Farm Workers, Essential Workers, and United Farm Workers of America, California Nurses Association, United Food and Commercial Workers, our grocery clerks, Oxnard firefighters, Oxnard Peace Officers Association and National Latino Peace Officers of Ventura County.
1
and
minute.
many other people. I want to serve our community. I am a leader. I brought things like utility rate assistance, a lifeline program for people having trouble on fixed incomes to pay their bills. That's the kind of thinking. I want to see more home ownership. I will make sure we have housing options for people, for renters and for homeowners. We need to deal with this. Anybody can call me, 805-216-7362. I pride myself on being very accessible. Also, my website, Carmen for
20 seconds.
And don't forget to fill out your census. It's important for our future. mycensus2020.com. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And thank you to both candidates. If we were in person, this would be the portion where we would applaud all of the participants for this evening. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you to our planning group. Again, all volunteer community members who came together to put together this evening for you. I want to thank all of our participants who turned out tonight to view this forum. And I want to remind you all that our next forum will be next Wednesday, September 30th, starting at 5:30 p.m. At 5:30, we will have District 3 council member candidates. An hour later at 6:30, we will have District 4 candidates. An hour later at 7:30, we will have District 6 candidates. I thank you all very much for coming out, and we will see you next week. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Have a great evening.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a good night.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.